Today we're going to be looking at the top 10 point guards of all time and ranking them from 10 to 1. I don't want to waste anyone's time, so let's just get straight into this with number 10, Walt Frazier. Walt undoubtedly has a more impressive resume than most of the people on this list going forward. However, it's very, very worth mentioning that he did it in a completely different era. I mean, we're talking about before the three-point line even came out and before you and I were even born. Walt was cut from the same cloth as a guy like Gary Payton. He was a complete menace on the defensive side of the ball. It's definitely attributes like this that helped lead him to becoming the two-time champion and Hall of Famer that he was. Number 9, Jason Kidd. The ultimate teammate and creator, but not the best offensive creator or threat for himself. Kidd was an amazing defender, he was a great passer, and honestly, one of the most underrated parts of his game was how great of a leader he was when he was in his prime, playing for those Nets teams. I mean, he actually led the Nets to the finals before getting swept. I'm pretty sure that was the year 2000, so the second of the Lakers three-peat. It might have been the first. I could be getting that wrong. But don't worry, because as a 36-year-old, he did win a title next to Dirk Nowitzki during the 2011 finals run. They, of course, defeated Miami in 6 games. And yes, this ring means more for Dirk and Tyson Chandler than it does for Jason Kidd. That's why he's not higher on this list. But number 9, I feel, is a great spot for someone like Jason Kidd. Number 8, Allen Iverson. It does hurt to not have Allen higher on this list. Some people actually would probably call Allen a shooting guard, which if he was, he'd definitely be a lot higher on that list. But as for point guards, winning and longevity is a big part of this list going forward, you guys will see. And it's not necessarily Iverson's fault that he never won a ring. Just like Kidd in 2001, he dragged his lackluster team in the 76ers to the finals and shocked the world, even stealing a game, the first game on the Lakers' home floor. I'm sure you guys remember the iconic step over that took place in that game. Unfortunately, they were reverse swept and lost in 5 right after that. Actually, I think that's a gentleman's sweep, but regardless, the pieces around him were just never as sharp or as good as shape as he was in. I know he joked about practice, but MVP Allen Iverson was something serious, guys, especially when you look at the competition he'd have to face when he goes out west, assuming he even made it back to the finals. I mean, imagine making the finals only to play the three-peat bulldozing Shaq and Kobe-led Lakers. Yeah, it doesn't sound fun, does it? The answer will forever be an icon in the world of hoops, fashion, and even lifestyle, but unfortunately, he does not rank any higher on this list. Number 7, Steve Nash. While he may not be the Nets' ideal head coach, he used to be a 2-time MVP and leader of the very famous 7 seconds or less offense. He never had the most eye-popping stats other than his assist totals, but he always translated to wins in the regular season. And to some people, that's the most important part, is winning. Oddly enough, though, outside of his incredible 61 seasons and outside of his MVPs, Steve Nash's resume is somewhat hollow, if that makes any sense. He was definitely a remarkable talent, but he's more of a human highlight reel or a montage than a historic resume figure like Bill Russell or Jerry West or Wilt Chamberlain. If he would have won a championship or any type of hardware like that, he'd be a lot higher on this list, but as for now, 7 is where he lies. Number 6, Oscar Robertson. I know that some people will be offended that the Big O isn't higher up on this list, but you'll notice going forward that most of the choice is in the ability to make their teammates better and translate to winning basketball. Yes, Oscar's numbers are insane and they jump off the page. He was the OG triple-double king after all. However, as we see with a player like Russell Westbrook nowadays, sometimes having 10 assists or 10 rebounds doesn't necessarily mean the most winning decisions were made leading up to those stats. I understand he does have a ring, but not only was he paired with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was averaging 30 points and 16 rebounds that season, but also Hall of Famer and 2-time champion Bob Dandridge. Oscar was an amazing talent for his era, but I do believe the people ahead of him on this list are there for a reason. Number 5, Chris Paul. The point guard coming in at number 5 is another ranking that's very, very bittersweet to me. I personally think players 4 and 5 on this list are interchangeable. Hopefully CP can win a buzzer beater ring with Phoenix before he retires and hangs him up, because in my opinion, I think that would definitely slingshot him into the 4, possibly even the 3 spot. Chris Paul is probably one of the most fun players to watch in the NBA today. He's a wizard with the ball, and he has it on a string. He can facilitate like no other, and he used to be one of the best defensive guards in the league. He can just not stay healthy to save his life when it matters most. It's truthfully been a sad reoccurring factor in his career. I think it's also worth mentioning that if the trade in 2008 wasn't vetoed by, at the time, Commissioner David Stern, Paul's spot on this list could even be as high as 2, but that's just another completely other what if. Number 4, John Stockton. Again, numbers 4 and 5 are interchangeable depending on who you ask, but I put Stockton here because unlike CP, he's practically an Iron Man. In 18 years of playing, he started 82 of 82 games 15 times. In the 3 seasons where he didn't do that, he played 78 games, 62 games, and then 50 games, but that was when he was 36 years old. What Stockton's done not only for the game of basketball, but for Karl Malone's career is something that I don't think is talked about enough. I mean, there's a reason Karl Malone's number 2 on the all-time scoring list, and Stockton's number 1 on the all-time assist list. I get not wanting to talk about Karl Malone, but Stockton is the all-time assist leader, like I said, and the all-time steals leader, and by a long shot as well, might I add. I doubt anyone is catching him. While Stockton has never won a ring, he truly was a one-on-one as far as facilitating goes, even averaging a league-high 14.5 assists one year and being one of the only 5 guards in NBA history to make an all-defensive team 5 times or more. Number 3, Isaiah Thomas. He didn't have as long as an NBA career as I would have thought, but he is just like Stockton in the sense that he averages these crazy assist numbers. But unlike Stockton, he actually was a little more complete on offense. I know he didn't average these crazy points or crazy numbers, but if you actually watched Zeke play, it was kind of very, very impressive, honestly, to watch his little frame kind of maneuver and move through this crazy physical era of basketball. I mean, if you guys haven't watched some film from Zeke, again, I definitely recommend it. It's no slight or diss putting him at 3rd. It's just that the 2 people in front of him, I'm sure you guys can guess who they are. They're just undoubtedly have a better resume and a better career is all. Which leads us to number 2, Stephen Curry. What is there to not like about Steph's game? He can shoot the ball lights out, move without the ball like an anaconda through the grass, and even recently he's been picking up some slack on the defensive side of the ball. Although he's kind of in the same boat as D'Lo, where I feel like he can be a plus defender all he wants, but the media is just going to continue to label them as liabilities. Steph's resume is definitely not something to turn your back on. From being a 4-time NBA champion to a 2-time scoring champion, and even being a 2-time MVP, one of which is the only unanimous MVP in NBA MVP history. I think it's safe to say Steph has solidified himself in the top 2 point guard conversation for everyone worldwide, especially after he broke the record for most 3-pointers made in a season. But only time will tell if he goes higher. Number 1, Magic Johnson. I fear it'll only be a couple of years before Curry hangs him up and takes this spot, but for now, it's still Magic's, and rightfully so. Magic is a 5-time champion, 3-time MVP, 2-time steals champion, and 4-time assist champion. Not only that, but he's the man who helped Kareem score the second half of his career points. As I said, talking about John Stockton and how he played a huge part in Karl Malone's success, Magic did the same for Kareem. It's hard to compare Steph and Magic because Steph is a short guard who can shoot the lights out and outrun anyone in the gym without the ball. But just like I mentioned earlier, people still label him as a defensive liability. While Magic is 6'7" and very, very capable of playing anywhere on the floor. He actually had to start at center during Game 6 of the 1980 NBA Finals. Kareem had gone down with an injury, but there was no need to worry. Magic recorded 42 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists, and won one of his 3 Finals MVP, something that Steph Curry is just getting familiar with. Like I said, when Steph's career is over, this list may look different, but for now, that's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is my second ranking video ever, and I figured this would be a great topic to discuss. If you guys want to see me continue to do this series, but rank the rest of the positions all time, so like shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center, then just let me know down below in the comments. If you made it this far and you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button and leave a like. It really, really helps with the algorithm. The support means the world, guys. Thank you so much. Peace.